Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Wednesday, August 24th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time 2022. Europe is experiencing its worst drought in at least 500 years. Grand solar minimum much? The big story, 5 rare 1,000-year rain events within a month. Holy macaroni. Keep calm. It's boom time. Now, what are they talking about? 5 rare 1,000-year rain events while Europe is in a 500-year drought. This sounds like a big cycle. In fact, we've been warning about the big cycle for years on this and over at Magnetic Reversal News. So if you're new to the channel, we have a series of events that's happening on Earth. The magnetic field is weakening. At the same time, the sun is weakening. At the same time, the interglacial is over. And so that means extreme rain in some areas and extreme drought in others and extreme temperature fluctuations, crop loss, and other major things that end the empire. Now, the flood threat continues in the South today as flash flood emergencies are issued for parts of central Mississippi, and this is going to continue. Here's flooding across the Jackson metro area from earlier this morning. Take a look. Homes and cars submerged as this storm slowly moves to the east. You can see the road was once in his front yard, is now a small pond. Or even a lake, perhaps. And there are rescues happening just moments ago here. We can see, this is in Brandon, Mississippi.
A lot of rescues ongoing, helping people, residents out.
As the rain continues to fall in Mississippi, flood rescues were reported in Canton and Rankin County, including a nursing home in Brandon. That's probably what we were just looking at there. Some power outages were reported around central Mississippi, including Warren County, where classes were canceled Wednesday at Bovina Elementary School. So a lot going on. After 100-year flood in Utah, the governor declares a state of emergency as Moab mayor worries of more rain. The city remains open for business and tourism as some residents mop up the wreckage. And we showed you footage of a poor woman who just lost her apartment right after she moved in the other day. 2 days after the 100-year flood, Utah Governor Spencer Cox declared a state of emergency in Grand, Emery, and Wayne counties, following the state to continue offering assistance to local governments as needed. They've seen destructive flash floods tear through communities, damage homes and businesses, and endanger the lives throughout southern Utah. And it doesn't look like it's really going to let up. As some of the flooding has shifted to the northeast, which is under drought conditions, storm causes flooding damage in parts of Connecticut. And people are cleaning up Tuesday. After Tuesday's rainstorm and flash flooding caused damage in parts of Connecticut, Route 8 near North Seymour was impassable due to flooding, according to the National Weather Service. State police said multiple vehicles were struck on the highway from exit 22 to 21 for hours. So, heads up in the northeast. Flooding is everywhere. And the most accurate forecast right here. More monsoon storms possible through the week. So that is on the forecast. Areas of heavy rain today may cause more flash flooding. Heat advisories in Washington state. Heavy rain and thunderstorms may result in flooding today from far east Texas to Mississippi. We just showed you some of that footage from earlier today. Over interior Southern California as well. And Death Valley, take a look at that. J-Tree potentially. There are heat advisories in effect for parts of Washington, including Seattle metro area today through Thursday. So heads up, click on your county for more flash flood information and take a look at how many areas in flash flood watches here in Mississippi. That's going to move east slowly through the weekend, where that threat for flooding in north central Florida occurs. And there is still a tropical system on the total precipitated moisture here. So let's run it through for you, where you could see the most rain in just the next 24 hours here. Southern Mississippi and central Mississippi could be picking up another 3 to 4 inches. So heads up. Central Florida as well through Friday. That's actually Saturday morning right there. Boom. So that is your flood threat. Purple, purple, purple. And I'm sticking with it. As you can see, more pop-up storms here throughout the entire Four Corners region are going to keep this area, well, cloudy, cool, and wet. It feels like winter's coming, but no one's bumming. As we quickly check the tropical system here, that is still on the radar. As you can see here, it's not a major hurricane, but it is a tropical threat that could bring dangerous flooding rains to the New Orleans area sometime around September 1st and 2nd. That is still on the model, so we'll keep a close eye on that. As nearly 100 are dead in Afghanistan floods, according to officials. Flash flooding has killed at least 95 people, injured hundreds of others, and swept away thousands of homes in Afghanistan, according to authorities in crisis-hit country, they said on Tuesday. Deaths occurred across 10 provinces over the past 10 days. Authorities said the country reels from an economic and humanitarian crisis exacerbated by the West. Yes, it's all our fault. Europe is experiencing its worst drought in at least 500 years. This is how we led off the podcast. And rivers are drying up, even the Yangtze, which isn't in Europe, but Europe is experiencing its worst drought in 500 years, with hot and dry conditions fueling wildfires, reducing crop yields, and impacting electricity generation. And it's worse than the U.S. The inflation there, I think, is now at 12%, and with these developments, with the drought, it could get even worse in the coming months in Europe. Our hearts go out to Europeans. Seismic update. No quakes of note. Good news. Worldwide volcano news update. Nothing really happening there either, which is more good news. The less things we need, less calamities, the better. But there is one interesting thing happening here. Kp0 volcano in the volcano islands of Japan. There is some yellow to white discolored water observed from the sky from an airplane here. And this is not dissimilar to a submarine eruption that emitted volcanic ash and pumice in the same region back, can you guess it? July 2001. Yes. And the Kp0 seamount is famous for the mysterious cloud of the 9th of April of 1984. On 9th of April 1984, commercial airlines en route from Tokyo, Japan to Anchorage reported unusual mushroom-shaped clouds. And they were wondering what it was. Well, it was a submarine volcano called Kp0. There's the shot from 1984. Space weather news. All is quiet in space. Look at this. We're down in low B range and almost no flaring. Yes, you've been psychic for 9 of the last 24 hours, thanks to the Kp index. I hope you're doing some amazing work. Now, the next uptick from the sun that we have to worry about for some grid failures or other crazy things won't occur until the beginning of the second week of September. So starting September 7th-ish, we're going to have a 14-day uptick in space weather. Once again, sticking with this double peak repeating model that's been going on for some time now. So the next uptick is not until the end of the first week of September as far as space weather. Now, some good news. Wind turbine blade resin. A new invention can be recycled as gummy bears. If this sounds as delicious as it looks, well, you're a fool, because gummy bears aren't food, and I certainly won't be eating gummy bears that are made from recycled wind turbine blades. Because it's not food, but the next generation wind turbine blades could be recycled into edible gummy bears, according to new research. Isn't that amazing? Potential record wheat harvest for North Dakota. That's good news. They could be producing 50, 60 bushels per acre. This comes after massive drought last year and huge losses across the U.S. because of excessive rain and drought. So North Dakota is going to have probably the best wheat production in the U.S. So ranchers up in North Dakota that have been suffering, well, it is a banner year for you. European crop yields collapse amid the worst drought in 500 years. Now, we just said this. What's going to happen in Europe is worse than the U.S. We have banner. Some states have the best wheat production ever in years, and that's not happening almost anywhere in Europe. Europe's agricultural body is forecasting a dramatic drop in corn yields due to ongoing drought gripping the continent. The plunge in corn output could result in further food inflation. Supermarket prices for meat in the EU jumped 12% in July versus a year earlier, while milk, cheese, and eggs are also skyrocketing at record rates. Besides the new record high price of electricity, a troubling new crop failure report about Europe's upcoming harvest was published Monday. The blocks monitoring agricultural resources forecast corn yields could drop by nearly a fifth due to the devastating drought, and that could drive inflation, which is not good news. You should be preparing. There should be some hedges. you should have some food security, which is going to be my talk at the Crestone Energy Fair, by the way. Food security solutions. Now, data showing increased insecticide levels in Minnesota deer. This is ever more reason you need some food security solutions. A second year for testing the neonicotinoid insecticides in white-tailed deer in Minnesota found the chemical extremely widespread. Researchers found the insecticide in just 61% of deer spleens tested back in 2019, but last year's test found the chemical in 94% of animals. So, I hope you enjoy a little neonicotinoid with your venison, because the earth is absolutely irreversibly polluted. Now, the 33rd Crestone Energy Fair is not irreversibly polluted. It's in fact refreshing and recyclable. So join us August 27th and 28th, Crestone, Colorado, for the biggest sustainable living fair, the longest running in the entire world, for free. The price point is good. Plus, you get to see me and Leah. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Thanks for joining us. Less than 48 hours, we're leaving, and we're headed to Crestone. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. Become a hero. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. We love you. Be safe.